Hey all, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. Now for this test centre video I shall be having a look at Kitty Pryde. This was a request. I can't actually remember if it was through the forums, Twitter, YouTube or Reddit. I'm getting a bit lost with all these various channels now I'm getting requests from, but whoever's requested it, I hope you do enjoy this particular video. Now I'm not 100% up to speed on her, I will say that in advance, so I will by and large just really cover the tool tips. If there's any observations that I feel confident on, I will give them as well. Now this particular video is from the 2nd of December update for her, and this appears to have fixed a lot of concerns people had over the lack of sword and katana skills as a possible build option. So let's look at these skills, and we shall start off first with phasing. Okay, now with this particular tree we start off with martial arts combo. So that is your basic melee attack, and that will also restore spirit for Lockheed. Now next up we have walking through walls, which is our dash. Now something I will showcase there's obviously been a lot of concern over movement powers. A lot of people are talking about characters like Nightcrawler and Kitty that have lost their feeling. I've seen a lot of mention on the forums how Kitty can no longer walk through walls, and that's simply not the case. As long as it's within dash distance, she can still go through it. She's still Kitty. She's still teleporting through walls, or phasing through walls even. So let me show that off. First off, a nice simple wall. There we go. And then next up, through here as well. So there we go. Hopefully that reassures any players that have read the forums, read the incorrect information and were worried in regards to the phasing. Where you are trying to go to somewhere that's within dash distance, you can still phase, so that's great. Now next up we have watch your step. So this is your vulnerability skill, and you'll phase under and jump out again. And then we have Heartbreaker. So this is a melee phasing skill, and it always deals a critical hit. And following on from that we have Quicksand. This will give you a slow. Now with this skill it has a 2.6 second channel time that appears to be affected by power duration, and it actually has a cooldown of 6 seconds, so that's different from live where I believe you can just spam it. It's a strange skill, one I've never been overly fond on. And next up we have Just a Phase. So with this it's a steroid of sorts. You gain attack speed, damage, health, Lockheed gains energy, and you gain vulnerability. And then we have non-corporeal beatdown, which is your melee phasing attack, punching the enemy and phasing through them. And then we finish up with phased out, another phasing attack there, and you become invulnerable when you're phasing under the ground. So she's still Kitty, she can still phase, which is great. Now let's have a look at the next tree, which is Lockheed. Now this particular tree is all about buffing Lockheed's powers, or actually using Lockheed's powers. So the first one we look at is Spitballs. This is just your standard range spender. And following on from that we have Line of Fire, and this is actually buffed based on the amount of spirit Lockheed has. I say spirit, I should say Lockheed energy it's called. Now from testing it would appear that if you stack Lockheed energy and use this, it looks like you can do a huge amount of damage. So there could be a potential for going for a spirit stroke Lockheed energy heavy build and basing it around this skill. Now next up we have Turn Up the Heat, which is just your ranged channeled spender. You hold this down, take out all the trash. And following on from that we have Shadow and Flame, which is a combination attack between Kitty and Lockheed, and this will buff your powers for a set time as well. And then we have the main melee spender for the Lockheed tree, which is Buddy System. And finally we have Dragon Breath. So with this it's a slow, and it's a big area duration of fire as well. Now I know I did mention sword katana powers, and you're probably scratching your head, but we'll get to that in just a moment, and it really is nice what they've done with it. Okay, now typically this is where I would cover the talents and traits. However, you've possibly noticed that Lockheed's skills, all the icons have changed. So what I've done is I've activated solo training, and this transforms Lockheed powers into a lot of these melee katana powers that we're missing from the last iteration. So I'll show the tooltips for them. Once that's done, we'll then talk about talents and traits. So this will be a kind of 4-section video as opposed to the 3-section ones we're used to. So the first one is Katana Slash, which is your basic melee sword attack with bonus damage to damage over time enemies. And then you have Logan Style, which is your execute there. Follow that up with Shadowcat's Pirouette, which is your weaken. We then have Shadow in the Flame, which is actually the same there. And Discipline Strike, which is your melee. And then finally we have Phasing Samurai, which is your melee area phasing sword attack, and that does your vulnerability, and you're invulnerable while using it as well. So absolutely fantastic that they've brought back the option for players that were asking for it. So let's now look at the talents and traits. Okay, so for the traits we have Ogun's Training, that's critical hit damage 25%, and the archetype is Striker, which gives you a bonus to speed or energy attributes. For the defensive trait we have Intangible, which is health and hit, and we have a multiplier to both deflect and dodge with the 8% damage reduction on melee combat as well. For the resource we have Lockheed's Energy, so primary resource Lockheed's Energy. Spending Lockheed Energy does not cause its regeneration to be paused, so like some other heroes, the more you stack, the more likely you'll be able to overcome how much you're actually spending. So for the talents, the first one is Precision Flames, and Lockheed's Fire Spit gains the following effects: critical hit chance 100%, and then Tandem Strikes, which is Lockheed power damage, goes up by 20%, and then Solo Training, that's the one we've looked at, which converts all the skills. Now for talent line number 2 we have Brutal Heartbreaker. So Heartbreaker always deals a brutal strike. The passive effect is brutal strike damage 40% on that. And then Phased Insights, so Watch Your Step increases critical damage by 40%. And then finally Flame Barrage, so Lockheed's Fire Spit attacks twice as fast and his auto attack explodes, damaging enemies in an area. So talent line number 3 now, we have Blade Rush. Walking through walls gains the following effects: physical damage dot, and Lockheed Energy is restored as well. And then Sword Wielder here, so critical hit chance for sword powers 2%. Not a huge amount, but if you're hitting diminishing returns, 2% can actually be okay. And Sword Wielder deals additional damage over time. We then have Augmented Flames, so turn up the heat, Spitballs and Dragon Breath have their area size increased, nice for Lockheed builds, and Lockheed's energy cost reduction comes down by 10%. Talent line number 4, we have Phase Endurance, so phased out duration increased to 8 seconds but no longer provides invulnerability. That is of course our signature skill. And we then have Unseen Warrior, gain stealth and regenerate 584 health per second while out of combat. And then Continuous Assault, which is phased out, can be activated 2 additional times. So on to the last talent line, we have Constant Ambush. Non-corporeal beatdown gains the following effects. Quite a long tooltip, so here we go. Phases through your target and reappears behind them, causing your next hit to deal 100% additional damage and critically hit, with a 2-second cooldown, and you gain 20% damage versus bleeding. For the next talent, we have Coordinated Attacks. So non-Lockheed powers deal 25% more damage against enemies affected by Lockheed damage over time effects. That's your hybrid option there. And then finally, Warrior of the Flock. So Shadow and Flame and Line of Fire restore 15 Lockheed energy per second for 5 seconds. So overall, this is the third hero I've looked at from the 2nd of December update. Firstly, Rogue, fantastic with her 3 new passives. Ultron, absolutely fantastic with his summon changes. And now Kitty, where she has the sword powers restored that many people were asking for. So 3 out of 3 so far. Well done, Kaz, really, hats off. I don't say that very often. I can be quite critical at times, but these last couple of iterations, especially the one today, they're really up in their game. So it will be interesting to see how the other heroes kind of get done as well in time. If they do massively change, I will of course do updated videos for them as well. But thanks for tuning in. If you did enjoy this video, if you want to see more, please subscribe, please like, and I shall see you all again soon.